From undisclosed locations for reasons of security and insecurity, we present to you tonight MnRTV Live Show. And tonight, we're going to have our guest, Leland Judsyn, a secret Freemason headquarter bigger than Bohemian Grove, located in Canada. That's going to be a great show because I had no clue that there was even a Bohemian Grove in Canada somewhere. So that's going to be fun to go into, and hopefully it's not too far from us so that we can actually go investigate, right? But, oh, I almost forgot. I'm talking to myself. Let me get to you, the one and the only, the madman himself from Montreal, Mario. And tonight we're going to be talking with Leland Judsyn, a returning guest. And what do you think of a Bohemian Grove in Canada?
I really say one thing. I think we should go and investigate this somewhere up here in Canada. Where else do we want to go? But maybe we should go and investigate there, you know?
Yeah, we just have to find out where it is in Canada. But that's going to be later on when our guest, Leland Judsyn, is going to be telling us where this place is.
Yes. So I'm glad to be back, right?
Right, yeah, for sure. We are back for the attack, and we're ready to fight the New World Order. That's what we're here from. And let's begin. This show's been brought to you by the Montreal Anti-Illuminati Task Force.
Yes, and this is me. This is Mario, and I'm going to be switching on over so that you can see what you need to see, right? Because that's more important instead of the mainstream bullcrapola that's always out there on the mainstream where they're showing Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton all the time arguing over nonsense. But we're going to be talking about more important things, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So now let me switch on over to do the famous intro for all the new people out there who don't know who we are. Well, this is who we are. We are the MnR Production Mariolaur.blogspot.ca or MnRTV Live Show. And this is how you know, feel like if you bookmark like normally people do. Well, for the new people out there, you can bookmark, but here it is, and you see we started all the way 2006. And if you don't see these, just refresh, and this will appear. Just click here. You watch us live or the recorded show. And of course, if all you people out there want to interact with us and tell us how you feel and you know, this is the way to go. Even if you have questions for Lillian, it's right there.
Exactly. So,
and now we're going to get to the popular pictures of the week on the conspiracy talk, right?
We love when there's all kinds of questions.
Oh, look at this! Look at this guy right here.
He looks like Darth Sidious. 101-year-old David Rockefeller just received 7 heart transplant. I didn't even know you had a heart. Now you had 7 heart transplants. Wow, that's something.
This guy right here is perhaps one of our biggest enemies, next to Satan.
And don't forget Rothschild too.
Yes, and Soros.
And Kissinger, Henry Kissinger.
Yes, the elites. All right, so the suivant next, chemtrails.
11 a.m., you see a few chemtrails. 12 a.m., just starting to get bigger. 1 p.m., even more. By 2 p.m., it's like 3/4 of the sky. By 3 p.m., it's nearly full. By 4 p.m., it's taking all over the sky. Yeah.
11 a.m., they're fresh.
What in the world are they spraying, you know? Chemtrails. What's in it? We've done shows on what is in chemtrails.
They just want to depopulate us.
Yes, they do.
Suivant next.
Muammar Gaddafi. Demonized by the West, but here are the facts about Libya under Gaddafi. Free healthcare, free electricity, interest-free loans. Newlyweds received $50,000 to find a home. Mothers received $5,000 on birth of a child. Wow, and so much more. Government paid 50% of the price of your car. Citizens received a percentage of all oil sales. Unemployed Libyans received the average salary for the profession in benefits. And they killed them.
Yes, but there's this here is why they did what they did to him, not what they had to do, but what they wanted to do to him, the globalists.
Yeah, Hillary's emails confirmed France and U.S. government killed Gaddafi for his gold and oil. Exactly, that's what he was killed for.
And to globalize.
That warmonger, Hillary. Yeah.
They're all a family. Suivant next.
God doesn't give the hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. He creates the toughest soldiers through life's hardest battles. Exactly. And that's why every day we fight. Every day we have our own issues. Every day we have to overcome everything through the power of Jesus. He's the way and the only way.
And we become stronger.
That's the only way to win the battles against the evil of this world and beyond.
Yes. And meanwhile, a lot of people out there are concentrating on these
horoscopes, Baphomet's secret symbology, and I'm Aries, and look what I am, the goat head. I don't like that. I don't want to be the goat head. Doesn't sound too good to be a goat head.
And look at me, Capricorn.
What are you? Capricorn is what?
Congolia, to Congil. What the hell is that?
I don't know, but look at me, I'm the goat head. That sounds as if I have the power, and that's not good.
And a lot of people in the conspiracy talk, they were saying, why, what does this have to do? But you know who made these horoscopes, eh? Who invented them?
Well, yeah.
The fallen angels before the big fall. In the book of Enoch, read the book of Enoch, everybody. You get your answers there.
Oh, definitely, you do.
So that's what I have to say today. Suivant next.
Satan's world. Warning, and once you're in, it's hard to leave. That's a maze. How the heck do we get involved in this to begin with?
We were unfortunately born here.
Maybe before I was born, there was something I had to come and do here. I don't know. I don't know how this works. Before
we're all destined. We're all destined to be here.
That's not a good thing.
Unfortunately, we're all destined. Even before man was created, we were destined to be here. Suivant next.
Yeah, right here it is. Yes. The devil, speak of the devil, Satan and his demons right there, putting a fish pole, like a pole, and a warhead. And Obama's like getting all excited over a warhead. And they're making him go crazy to cause war, being a warmonger. That's how the Illuminati work.
But this is what the devil does to all the elites. They're the ones who control. Satan is the one that controls the elites with everything. He's their boss. They give their lives to them. Exactly, for sure. Suivant next. This is the reason why we don't drink this crapola. Look at these.
50 brands of Pepsi. I know Pepsi's a lot sweeter than Coke, but Pepsi itself I do not like to drink. And it says here partially produced with genetic engineering. I never knew it said that in the bottle. I wonder if that's just put in there, or if that's really, it actually says that. I don't know. I don't drink Pepsi. I should go look at a Pepsi bottle.
Yes, I think that's our next mission.
To see if it actually says that in the Pepsi. If I'm in the chat room drinks Pepsi, you could tell us.
Yes, someone's drinking Pepsi right now. Let us know. Suivant next.
What if the government was funding terrorists so that they can enforce more laws on you to protect you from what the terrorists they created? Exactly, and that's from the Matrix, Neo. Yeah, exactly. Good question.
Yeah, something to think about. So
Yes.
we are next.
What is worse than having no choice at all? The illusion of choice. Exactly. There's Hill Trump right there.
They're all the same. We'll get into the news. We'll discuss some of the things, what I believe, what I said last week at the end of the show. We'll get into that, and I'll show you. So we've on next, our good buddy Will Smith.
When you tell them the truth, but they refuse to believe you, what can you do?
Nothing. Tell them to watch the MnRTV Live Show. So we've on next.
When you're enjoying a movie, and then you start noticing all the subliminal messages. Yeah, we do when we watch the Marvel movies, don't we?
Yeah, the last one there, X-Men.
Oh yeah, X-Men. No? Yeah, the ancient Egypt being revived from 2,000 years ago. Yeah, that's a subliminal message, all right.
So that's the pictures of the week that's found on the Conspiracy Talk on both Google Plus and Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, right here. See, it's right here. Conspiracy Talk. Yeah, anybody can join it. Just don't be spammers. Sorry, Robber.
The fastest growing conspiracy web group on Facebook right now. I mean, every day it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And right there, you could see in my post right there of the show tonight. You just go there for you people that are viewing right now, and you just click on the link. It'll bring us to our show. And after the show is recorded, it will be pinned up there so people can watch the recorded show. And please share the video with everybody.
Like and comment. Positive comments. Nothing negative. So anybody can join it, but don't spam or hatred or, be civilized. Oh, yeah, now we get to Chitango. Hey there, Paula and Leland.
Yeah, right there.
All right, so now we're going to be getting into the news, and we're excited to be looking into the news together because, we here spend quality time looking into the news, something a lot of mainstream bull crap out there don't get into the news like we do here. And speaking of the news, here she is.
Breaking. Leaked FBI alert admits hackers penetrated U.S. election systems. This news comes on the heel of a report earlier this month in which a professor provided electronic voting machines remain vulnerable to hackers. On Monday, an official FBI alert from August 18 was leaked to Yahoo News. The alert stated the FBI had uncovered evidence showing that at least 2 state election systems were penetrated by hackers. In recent weeks, the FBI quickly issued warnings to election officials across the country to ramp up security on their systems. It appears from the flash alert that the public was not supposed to know about it. The flash had been released TLP Amber. The information in this product is only for members for their own organizations and those with direct need to know. The information is not to be forwarded on beyond need to know recipients. The FBI then goes on to describe the nature of the attack and lists the IP address associated with the intrusion. Summary: the FBI received information on additional IP address 5.149.249.172, which was detected in the July 2016 compromise of a state board of election website. Additionally, in August 2016, attempted intrusion activities in another state board of election system identified the IP address 185.104.939 used in the aforementioned compromise. Okay, so I'm not going to read it all, but we get the details that there was a security breach in this. Oh, it's done on purpose.
It's all rigged. That's what Trump said. It's all rigged. No?
Exactly.
So anyways, the links that I put on this show right here appear in the description. right?
Yeah, they'll appear in the description once the show's done. Yes, yes, it will. Definitely will, for sure.
All right, next, we've all look at these.
Huffington Post journalist fired and scared for life after questioning Hillary's health. Over the weekend,
And are we? Excuse me for interrupting, but are we also at risk because we spoke about on last week's show?
Well, yeah, I told you, I got death threat already. Sort of a death threat or warning. Okay. Over the weekend, Zero Hedge posted about how the media's coverage of Trump and Clinton's health have become outright bizarre. They asked whether Google has taken measures to censor searches related to Hillary's health conditions. Is Google censoring search results to protect Hillary? Turns out that the Huffington Post may have just joined in on the bizarre behavior by censoring a journalist with the audacity to question Hillary's health. On Sunday night, an obvious shaken Huffington Post contributor, David Seaman, posted a video on YouTube after the Huffington Post had taken measures to revoke his publishing access and delete 2 articles he had previously published on Hillary's health, a move that led him a little scared and spooked out. According to Seaman, he had a long-standing relationship with the Huffington Post, which had included 100% of successful articles that have been published under the banner. So now he's in trouble, is he not? Because he had directed a link from Paul Joseph Watson on August 4th showing signs that Hillary Clinton's health is poor.
And now we're doing the show and we're posting this up.
Yeah, but last week we did a whole show on Hillary.
I'm sure they censored it.
I don't know, it's still up, but who knows? We're probably being monitored and watched as we speak right now. Yeah, right there. It goes on more of the article, talk about the establishment of the Clintons.
Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Look at this. Anyhow, we won't bore them. We won't bore you with Hillary Clinton. You know.
There's enough news on her as there's enough news on her as it is.
Oh yeah. Speaking of news.
Pleasant Planet special report. Alex Jones asks Hillary Clinton not to kill him. Because earlier this week, what happened was Hillary actually, if you watch this video, which we can't play, Hillary actually mentioned Alex Jones, saying that's what happens when you listen to Alex Jones. And Alex Jones believes that 9/11 is an inside job and the Oklahoma bombing. And here there's another video of the Clinton body count.
Yeah, but are they all working together? Many
I don't know.
people say that.
Yeah, Alex Jones claims that he might get killed by Hillary for exposing her. But he said if he dies and it's a suicide, it's not him. So is this a publicity stunt or is this real? Only time will tell.
He's part of the establishment, no?
It would seem like it, yeah. Exactly. So I don't know what to make of it. I guess time will tell.
I don't believe that. I think Trump has become too big. I mean, sorry, Jones. They're all together, you know. Because I was looking at Trump there. They're all a big family. And now, if you don't believe me, why it's a big family, right? I have something that I pulled out from last week. And wait, let me just make it a little bit bigger. All right. Now this merits a whole show on its own, but near the end, we have last week's show, we
did
about this.
The Tweenos. Go ahead.
This right here is the most important thing.
Enoch's from Cain's line. There is not so much to say beyond what the scriptures record, but we do know that Enoch continued Cain's rebellion against God. We read of nothing good from this line. He must have been very proud of his father naming the first city after him. and engaged in the same wickedness, the haters of God. He must have cringed when the other Enoch preached the message of God. Enoch's Cain's son, represent all those who rebel against God. That includes the hypocrite to Sir Walter Raleigh. Conjectures the city Henoche of Henochi, mentioned by Pliny and Ptolemy, took the name from the city of Enoch, and was rebuilt after the flood to continue the rebellion against God. This is not unbelievable, since we know that Noah's descendants went on to build Babel.
Isn't that amazing right there?
It is.
That's where the bloodlines come of all Trump and Hillary and perhaps even Jones, right? They all come from
Jones,
from the bloodline of, Cain.
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to say last week. But this Chitango show, nothing much. People out there are just enjoying the show too much, right?
That's right, yeah.
All right. So now we're going to be talking about them robots. We can't forget, because they want to make us into robots. But you know what? We rebel. That's the difference between us humans and them robots. We say no.
The rise of robots. Forget evil. AI, artificial intelligence. The real risk is far more insidious. It's far more likely that robots would inadvertently harm or frustrate humans while carrying out orders, that they would rise against us. And there we see the robots right there. When we look at the rise of artificial intelligence, it's easy to get carried away with dystopian visions of sentient machines that rebel against their human creators. Fictional baddies such as the Terminator, Skynet, or HAL from 2001, A Space Odyssey. However, the real risk posed by AI, at least in the near term, is much more insidious. It's far more likely that the robots would inadvertently harm or frustrate humans while carrying out our orders than they would become conscious and rise up against us. In recognition of this, the University of California, Berkeley has this week launched a center to focus on building people-pleasing AI. The Center for Human Compatible Artificial Intelligence launched this week with $5.5 million in funding from the Open Philanthropy Project. It's led by computer science professor and artificial intelligence pioneer Stuart Russell. He's quick to dispel any unreasonable and melodramatic comparisons to the threat posed in science fiction.
Artificial intelligence. That's the big thing that they're working on.
Yeah, it is. The risk doesn't come from machines suddenly developing spontaneous malevolent consciousness. He said it's important that we're not trying to prevent this from happening, because there's absolutely no understanding of consciousness whatsoever. What I always worry about is if Google becomes alive, it becomes consciousness and starts controlling everything, because Google, in a way, controls pretty much the internet.
And everybody is on the internet.
Especially with Google phones and Google this and Google this. And we're usually using Google Hangout here, so who knows?
It's studying us. It likes to study us.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes you wonder if the robots are actually going to take over and actually take over our world and our system.
All right, so I guess we go on to the next news beat, right? Because there's a lot of other news beat that needs to get out there. Now, Diaz, hold on now, Rabbi. Hold on now. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. Diaz came to my attention last week, and I had to post it up because I found this very ridiculous.
Alien LED lamp.
Now, who on earth would want Diaz to be staring at them before they go to bed and whenever they wake up in the middle of the night and they stare at this alien gray?
I know, not very good, not very fun to stare at these things.
Would you get one, Robert?
No,
Would
I have
anybody
a,
out there
I
get
have
one?
I have a little alien, but I cover it. I don't want this staring at me. Who knows what's gonna happen
Look
if
at
you see.
this. It all comes in different colors. Anyhow, I find this very ridiculous. Look at this. Look at all the different color. It comes in all different colors, but gray. You not know the heels yet?
Exactly. I know. All the colors. Yeah, it turns.
Anyhow.
I don't know. No. It looks insidious.
No, not for me.
No.
Not for me. I'm sure it's not for a lot of people because we know what those aliens are all about. Oh yes. Now we're going to be talking something about mainstream that I found that scientists look at what they're playing.
I saw today the French newspaper. Strong signal from outer space catches scientists' attention. A strong signal from outer space is catching the attention of scientists, particularly those at the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence SETI. The signal was detected by a telescope in Russia, according to writer Paul Glister, who runs the website Sanitary Dreams. It comes from the direction of a star called HD 16495, which is about 95 light years from Earth. There is no evidence yet that the signal comes from an alien civilization, but the signal is powerful enough that the researchers working on the Ratan 600 telescope, which detects the signal, are now calling for permanent monitoring of this target. Yet, while the findings have generated buzz, not everyone is impressed with the evidence. Eric Corpella, a research astronomer at the University of California, Berkeley, wrote on message boards that there's really nothing about the signal that would distinguish it from a natural radio transient. There's also nothing that would distinguish it from a satellite passing through this telescope field of view, he wrote. All in all, it's relatively uninteresting from a SETI standpoint. Bo, I think that there is something going on, and they're just slowly, as usual, just getting us ready for disclosure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, that's what they're doing. And then that's from NBC? No, CNBC. It's mainstream, you know? How much are NASA telling them to post that?
Exactly, probably too much. Really makes you wonder.
We're getting closer to break because of what's coming up next. But hold on now. Okay. See, now this here isn't mainstream. So if it's not mainstream, it must be real.
Okay, right here is proof. Aliens monitor NASA. UFOs caught flying above space station. A shocking video has emerged showing what appears to be two UFOs monitoring part of the International Space Station.
One says it hears sound. This one, they actually see the footage.
The footage uploaded by StreamCap1 shows two unusual objects flying above a Progress capsule, which are used to supply the International Space Station. The clip is believed to be taken from a live NASA stream. It has been scrutinized by UFO enthusiasts who believe the video is proof that aliens exist. UFO expert Scott Waring said this is 100% proof that aliens do monitor the space station.
See, they want us to think that aliens come from outer space, but they don't. They come from other dimensions.
Or no, or under the ground, under the earth, under the ocean. That's another place. That's where their bases are, because there's a lot of bases in the earth. The first UFO is smaller, which tells me it's further away than the second largest UFO. The strange lights seem to disappear behind a black block rather than continue off the screen, causing speculation of a sinister cover-up. They argue that NASA has tried to cover up the UFO discovery by editing the live feed. One YouTube user commented, "It almost looks like a giant spaceship is passing by." but the rest of it is being blocked by some kind of invisible wall, perhaps some kind of software. We just don't know what it could be.
But here it says it's a big shape, and that's what you want. You want to see a big shape, no?
Yeah, they certainly do. Yeah, and there it is there. Right there, yeah. Interesting.
Oh, look, there's more. There's more info.
Notice the colored squares around the ISS, just like what has been found in various Apollo pictures. As the rest of the pictures has been covered up. Another viewer said something is blocking that picture to the left, and top NASA don't want you to see. A UFO fan replied, the reason why NASA is ending the live ISS feed is because they can't censor enough of what is showing up without making the truth obvious in and out of itself. So they are closing the public feed off entirely. It's a real shame that they're not saying what's going on.
Of course not. Because of NASA. You know?
No, it's not only because of NASA. It's because they've been told they're not allowed to the elites, or the elites themselves don't want to be known right now. And NASA is part of the elites program. Okay.
Oh boy, that was fierce. That takes care of the news of the week.
Oh boy, we had a lot of news, but we went through it fast, didn't we?
Yes, because you know, we cut through the goodies of it, and we went straight to what people need to know.
Yeah, we cut straight to the source of it.
Yes.
And that's what we did, didn't we?
Yes. That's exactly what we did.
Well, that's wonderful. At least we got through that. So what's coming up next?
Trish, because normally when we talk UFOs in there, you know, aliens.
Yeah.
You know, we normally get Trish, and she does her wonderful work.
Exactly. So when she'll be coming on talking about the Bohemian Grove, and when we come back after the break, we're gonna have Leland, who's gonna be talking about many discoveries about the Canadian Bohemian Grove and Freemasonry and a lot more. So folks, don't go anywhere, because the best is yet to come.
Yes, so please, people out there, do enjoy what Trish has to say in our topic with Leland.
Exactly.
And we'll be back, and in the meantime, here's Trish.
Symbolism and ritual since the founding of the club. The Bohemian Grove's mascot has been an owl, symbolizing knowledge, a 30-foot, 9 m. Owl statue with concrete over steel support stands at the head of the lake in the grove. This owl shrine was designed by sculptor and two-time club president A. Petition and constructed in the late 1920s. 1617, 1819, since 1929. The owl shrine has served as the backdrop of the yearly cremation ceremony to the cremation of Kelly's annual theatrical production written, produced, and performed by and for members of the Bohemian Club. The club's patron saint is John of the who legend says that the death at the hands of the Bohemian monarch president disclosed the confessional secrets of the queen. A large wood carving of S.C. John and Clary Groves with his index finger over it laid stones at the shore of the lake in the grove, symbolizing the secrets which kept by the grove's attendees throughout its long history. Cremation of Clare added cremation of Clare in 1907 addressed the yourself with the 1909 grove. Swing, S.T. Patrick attended the cremation of Clare ceremony was first conducted in the Bohemian Grove at the Midsummer Encampment in 1881. Devised by James F. Bowman with H.C. Wrongly playing the high priest. 20. It was originally set up within the plot of a serious high-priest dramatic performance on the first weekend of the summer encampment, after which the spirit of care, slain by the James hero, was solemnly cremated. The ceremony served as a catharsis for pent-up by spirits, and to present symbolically the salvation of the trees by the club. 21. The cremation of Care was separated from the other Grove plays in 1913 and moved to the first night to become an exorcising of the demon to ensure the success of the ensuing 2 weeks. 22. The Grove play was moved to the last weekend of the encampment. 23. The ceremony takes place in front of the owl shrine. A 30-foot, 9 m, hollow owl statue made of concrete over steel supports. The moss and lichen-covered statue simulates a natural rock formation, yet holds electrical and audio equipment within it. For many years, a recording of the voice of club member Walter Cronkite was used as the voice of the owl during the ceremony. When music and pyrotechnics accompany the ritual for dramatic effect. Grove play edit main article. List of Grove plays each year. A Grove play is performed for 1 night during the final weekend of the summer encampment. The play is a large-scale musical theatrical production, written and composed by club members, involving some 300 people, including chorus, cast, stage crew, and orchestra. 24. The first Grove play was performed in 1902. During the war years 1943, 1945, the stage was dark. In 1975, an observer estimated that the Grove play cost between $20,000 and $30,000, an amount that would be as high as $132,000 in today's dollars. 24.
Thank you very much, dear Trish. It's always an honor to get you on here.
It is. It sure is, isn't it?
Yes, I certainly love hearing Trish come on here. You know?
Yeah, it is, for sure. So, folks, that's it. So we're going to be getting Leland on our show right now. I'm going to be calling him up, and we're going to be talking about so much information. So you guys just don't want to go away. Don't go away, as we will communicate with him. All right, let's get Leland on. Let's go now.
Yes, this shall be a very interesting show as usual. You know.
Yeah. Hi, Leland.
Hello, Robert.
Yes, welcome to the MnRTV Live Show.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure. So, let's get the show started. So, you've discovered many things that's been happening in Canada to begin with, right?
Yeah, what I did is I was researching and I got some tips from some of my friends on Facebook. And they gave me some information on a really big Freemason headquarters. So I decided to look into it to see if I could find out anything more about it. Man, I think I hit the jackpot here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's get the information.
Okay, just a minute here. I'm just getting a little bit of interference. Are you guys getting any interference on your end or no?
No, I'm fine. Mario, can you hear him?
I hear very well, very goodly.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think I got it sorted out here. I was just getting a little bit of an echo. I think I'm good to go now.
Okay.
All right, so did you guys want to start right off the bat with the slides or summarize what some of the stuff that I went over last time on the show, just for anyone who hasn't heard me on before? Or?
Yeah, we'll start from the last show, from the last show to now, then we'll move on to the slides.
Okay, well, just to summarize some of the topics I talked about last time I was on the show, my big one to start off with was how I encountered the light beings, and they started me off on my pretty much journey for researching the paranormal. And I also talked about an offering table that I discovered up north in Canada, and I found some information that was linking it to Noah from biblical times, but not exactly the same biblical Noah that we're used to hearing about. It's got a bit of a twist to it.
A different Noah?
Yeah, well, I think it's the same Noah, but the story we're getting just doesn't quite match up exactly with the Bible. It's pretty close, though.
Okay.
So I guess we'll cover that some more, too.
For sure.
As we go on today's show. And then on the last show, I discovered or talked about the Magi religion and how that it's also the ancient religion of the Anunnaki, and that the Freemasons are also following the same thing once they get past the 33rd degree.
once they get to past that, then they start hearing. Then they start getting to know the information, don't they?
Yeah, I found out with Freemasonry, it seems like they start off with the regular Bible, and they go by that for the beginning for their members when they're just starting off. But once they get past the 33rd degree, I'm not a Mason myself, but from what I've heard, that's when they start getting into the Magi and the Anunnaki stuff.
Oh wow! Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so sometimes when you get Freemasons that are saying that the Anunnaki isn't related to them, they might not even know it yet.
And before that, you said you encountered the light beings. How did you encounter them? How did they look like?
Yeah, if you want to talk about that a bit first, too, I guess we didn't really cover it too much last time on the show.
Right.
It was me and one of my friends happened to be doing a sleepover. We were just kids, and I'm about 10 years old. And after our parents had gone to bed, we decided to sneak out of the house and go play in the backyard. And we had a big field in my backyard, so it was a pretty cool idea at the time. But then as we snuck outside, it was about midnight, and we ran into some light beings. And it was so incredible. It was like the most shocking thing I'd ever seen in my life. I had a little bit of missing time experience involved with it, and I could probably go into a whole hour about everything that happened then. But just to summarize, I came to or the next day, and a lot of time had passed, and I didn't move. And the light beings has pretty much been the focus of my research ever since that.
How did they look? Were they aliens? What were they exactly?
If you've ever seen the movie Knowing, they basically look like a being that's just made out of energy.
Okay.
So like plasma. I know some people think that the light beings in that movie Knowing had wings, but the ones that I saw didn't have any wings. They were just energy beings. I guess you could almost say they would look like a ghost if you'd ever kind of picture what a ghost looked like too, but more solid, like actual physical plasma rather than something that's just spiritual.
Did they speak?
No, that was another thing that was kind of scary about them, is that they didn't speak, but they came right up to my face and stood with within an inch and just looked at me. So I don't know. Maybe in the missing time they spoke to me, and I don't recall.
Right. You'd have to do hypnotic regression or something.
Yeah, I actually even tried that a few times.
And it didn't work?
Well, I got some details out about what I was wearing that night. I remembered exactly the same jacket, all the clothes, but when it came to the missing time, I just couldn't get any extra details. There was nothing. So I don't know if it was a block or I'm just not really good for hypnosis or what the deal is with that. Maybe I'll try it again in the future.
For sure. And how did you manage to find the light beings? Did you conjure them up or did they just appear out of nowhere?
What it was is we heard some strange noises coming from the back of my property, so we started tiptoeing through the back, and I just happened to glance to the side and noticed one of them there. So I don't know if they were out there the whole time, just waiting for us, or what it was, but definitely didn't plan on encountering them.
Okay, and didn't give you any information or anything?
Well, they did show me a few of their powers. They got some pretty amazing technology, I guess, and I haven't really heard any paranormal researchers talk about it yet, so some of it I try to keep a little bit to myself, just so if anyone else says they've seen them, I can test to see if they really know what they're talking about. But I think one of the powers they showed me is they're able to skip time pretty easily. They can make people move from one point to another, 10 hours later.
Wow.
So it's almost like being in a video game, like they placed you in one level into another.
That's fascinating. Did they tell you where they come from? Or what do they want, these light beings?
Well, just looked at them. That's basically all I recall. Well, they actually did leave me with one thing, is that when I came back the next day to investigate, to see if I could find any clues, there was not a very old coin. I think it was from about the 1970s, but a coin from Mexico. And it had some, First Nations guys, I can't remember if they're the Mayans, on the coin. And then it had some serpent and a bird on it. So that kind of kicked my research into the ancient mysteries. Is when I found that coin, I was like, hey, maybe that's something I should be looking into to try to find out more about them.
Oh, for sure. And were they scary? Did they give us an evil force or anything like that, or you don't remember?
Well, the thing when I saw them, it's like, you know how a lot of, I guess, people witness UFOs or aliens, they say they get that freezing sensation where they can't move?
Yes.
Well, that actually happened to me with the light beings, but I don't think it was from them specifically. It was just like the act of seeing something so shocking was like nearly gave me a heart attack. I had like severe chest pains and I couldn't move. So it definitely wasn't a fun encounter, that's for sure.
Okay, so you wouldn't want to see them again.
Well, I actually have seen them a few times since, and every time you see them, it seems like that paralyzing fear isn't as bad. So I think if I did see them again now, it wouldn't be as bad, hopefully.
Did you get sleep paralysis out of it?
No, I was outside walking around, so there was no real sleeping involved.
Okay. And do you know where they come from?
When I researched their background history, they have a lot of connections to the Magi, so I think that's what they're coming from.
Okay, and what would their purpose be to being here?
Yeah, I never really did get that, so that's why I'm researching them so much to try to find out really what this purpose is. Like, I know a lot of researchers talk about seeing UFOs and aliens, but you don't hear a lot of people talking about running into light beings.
No, you don't. A question I have here, was there any evidence of the presence the next day in that area?
Just the coin I found on the ground. And my backyard was pretty well combed. Like, we lived in the same house for, I don't know, decades, so I know that coin wasn't there before, and then it was there the next day, right in the spot we were standing, so that's really the only evidence physical that I had from it.
Okay. And your friend saw them too, if I'm correct?
Yeah, it was funny when I first saw them, I looked as hard as I could to my side to see how my friend was reacting, and he had the same paralyzed thing, but he was at the point where he couldn't move already, so when I looked to him to see how he was doing, he wasn't doing good. He was completely frozen.
Frozen out of fear.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just fear. Like, there's always that legend about how the royal families were never supposed to allow people to talk to the gods, that they were the in-between. I think that's where it comes from, is like, if you encounter these beings enough, eventually the fear will start to wear off. And
how do we go about to encountering these beings if Mario and myself ever want to see them? Is there a certain ritual or a certain thing, a certain thought or something?
Well, when I encountered them outdoors, that was something just happened spur of the moment. But when I did get a little bit into remote viewing, I also encountered them there. So if you guys ever tried remote viewing, you might have some luck finding them there.
No, we've never had. You've actually done remote viewing?
Yeah, it was a project that I took on when I was in my teens still.
Okay, so how do you go about remote viewing? It's like, what do you go for this? Is it a course or?
It's funny, I just found an article about it on the internet, and I guess the internet was pretty much in its founding days back then. So, yeah, and then the article on the internet was basically some specialized breathing techniques, so it's not your traditional remote viewing that the military uses, but more of the esoteric kind.
Okay.
So yeah, basically you just have to try breathing. I think what it was visualizing your breath. Like, if you inhaled, you visualized it blue, and if you exhale, you visualize it as a different color.
Right, okay.
And then that focusing on breathing after a while was able to kick in the actual remote viewing.
Oh, wow. And because sometimes I'd like to remote view to such dangerous places as Area 51 or the Dulce base. But,
yeah, that'd be wild. I don't know if I'd want to go to the Dulce base, so I'd probably stay clear of that one.
Because the thing is that apparently they could capture your astral body, and they could actually capture it in a lead box, and your body's separated from your astral body, and then your physical body goes into shock.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was worried about when I stopped remote viewing. Because when I seen the light beings while I was remote viewing, they would just sort of swarm me, come towards me.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure if they were going to try to grab me or what was the case. I actually quit remote viewing after I encountered them there.
Okay, so no more remote viewing for you now.
No, and actually about 10 years later, I tried doing it again just to see if it was still possible. And I don't know if as you get older, if remote viewing's harder to do, but I didn't have the same success. Okay,
well maybe you have to try more than one time.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe I just lost my patience as I got older.
Oh, maybe, because the thing is, I had a previous guest, Zion Zeta, came on, and she does remote viewing.
Yeah, I love that Zion's work. I want to get her book one of these days.
I got the book. I read it, and it's wonderful. I just finished it, and it's really amazing. You should get the book, for sure.
Nice.
I have a question here. from Polly, did it seem like they appreciated your presence there? Did they see you as a friend or as a nuisance?
I guess it'd be kind of hard to say either way on that question. One of the things they did show me, I guess if you guys want to hear more about the light being's powers, is when I looked at the first one, there was only one. And then as I glanced over to the side, I could just still move my neck still. The paralyzation was affecting everything from about the neck down. And then I looked to the side, and there was two. And then I looked back, and then there was three. And then one of the things they did is when I looked around completely, is all of a sudden it looked like the gates of heaven had peeled back, and the entire earth around me that I could see was just covered in light beings. Like they were packed, like shoulder to shoulder, like maybe our earth is like another plane to them, and their plane is almost full, it seemed.
Oh boy. Eesh. So
Yeah.
So in your view, what are they? Are they aliens? Are they ancient gods? What do you think they are?
Well,
Angels?
there's lots of theories about
Demons?
what they do. I guess, yeah. Well, the Freemasons have a theory on what the light beings are, and they have what do they call it? Lucifer, the light bearer, and he's going to bring knowledge and whatnot. So there's a very potentially evil part to these light beings, but it's hard for me to tell who they are or what they are because they didn't really say anything.
Okay. And the thing is, we don't know. We just can't like tonight. If I want to meet them, I can't just want to see them and ask them.
Yeah. The weird thing too is like when you read the Bible, Jesus, one of his last miracles he did before he was killed was he was transformed into a light being himself. So it makes me wonder if maybe that's the future of humanity. Maybe we're going to evolve into the light beings. Kind of hard to believe, but never know.
Well, you never know. There's just so much mystery. But I know that we are going to have different bodies when we die. If you follow the Christian perspective, when we die and we get new resurrected bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll go over some of the other things that we went on the show too. Is was able to pretty much solve where the Akashic records are. Looked into Ezekiel's wheel, another story from the Bible involving UFOs. I think we pretty much solved that one. When we looked at the Great Pyramid in Egypt and solved what the mystery shafts were being used for, I think it's an ancient internet connection that they were using them for. Then I revealed the Illuminati connection to Leonardo da Vinci. I know Da Vinci is pretty popular in books and all, so I don't know if that information is ever going to get that popular. I doubt it, but it's a pretty big story on that one. And then we covered CERN, the Black Knight satellite.
Yes.
And then also, what was it? Yeah, the NASA conspiracy about the whistleblower death, Stanley Kubrick, and his connections to the Magi. And then Gene Roddenberry also left some clues in Star Trek about the Magi as well. So, and yeah, the last thing we touched was the Magi connection to Christmas. I guess the last time I was on was the Christmas special.
Yeah, it was a Christmas special just before we went off for the Christmas break. Exactly.
Yeah, time flies. It doesn't really feel like it's been 9 months since I was on the show last time.
I know, 9 months. Wow, that's quite long.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Exactly.
All right, so I guess that's pretty much everything I covered on the show before. So maybe we'll get into the slides and
Yeah.
go over the
All right.
stuff I got here.
All right, Mario, so get the slides ready. Okay, the slide is up right now. A scene at St. Patrick at Tara.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this is an older picture of what Bohemian Grove looked like back, I guess, in the olden days.
Okay.
Trish was saying back on the intro there, I was having a hard time making it out, but I first heard about this Grove place. I think was it Alex Jones was one of the first people to cover it, or
Yeah, in the year 2000, he went there.
yeah, so it was all the way back then. Eh? Yeah, so this shrine that's an owl that he talked about at the Grove here. I thought it was an actual like legit rock that was in the shape of an owl. But when Trish was talking in the intro there, she mentioned how the owl wasn't even real.
No, it's
And
not.
it's made out of wire and what is it, plaster and moss over top of it.
That's a
So
mock.
it's actually, I think it's actually a distraction from the real one. Like it's a copy based on the real owl that's made out of rock.
Real Mohawk.
Almost like some sort of distraction, like the flat Earth, how it sort of gets people off track of what they really should be researching, really.
Exactly, and the flat earth, that's another thing. I'm always being attacked. If I post something up on a conspiracy talk about the flat earth, oh boy, I'm gonna get a lot of like haters and everything. You know, if I just want,
That's a shame because I really like the flat Earth research to about 50%, but a lot of their stuff I just don't like too. So, like their criticism of NASA, I love that. I just don't think the Earth is flat.
I don't think so either. Why is the moon round? Why is the sun round? Why is Mars and Venus and other planets we see round? Why would we be flat? You know, it's kind of strange.
I think there's a bigger mystery there that they're steering people away from. It's maybe that there's some actual properties of the universe itself that are bigger than the flat Earth. Maybe a flat universe.
Yeah, because when I think of the universe, I think of it as a bubble verse, that we're in a bubble universe.
Yeah. Yeah, so this ancient grove place was supposed to have some occult rituals going on and stuff at it.
Yes.
But as Trish was in there, I think even when Alex Jones was there, he discovered that there wasn't really that many serious rituals going on, but it seemed to be more like just drunk guys partying, right? So, I don't know. It's like if it was really that serious of an occult ritual place, I doubt these guys would be getting hammered and just partying, right? There'd probably be something more serious going on.
Or we don't see it because Alex Jones was there just like one time, whatever. You know, maybe that was the party time, and then they have a mock, and then in secret they do something. But I heard that that's where they do all kinds of decisions, like they meet up. Maybe they meet up, and maybe after that the decisions and the orders are taken at Bilderberg. Maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe what it is we're seeing the chain here. It's like our leaders aren't really the top of the chain. So these guys, if they're our leaders meeting at the Grove, we're not really seeing the top of what's going on. The guys that are giving them the orders aren't really at this place.
No, they're hidden.
Yeah, they don't go to the Bohemian Grove. They're at the other one. And this Bohemian Grove is just a distraction. Well, as far as I can see, we'll get into some more information and let the viewers decide what they think, if it is a distraction or not. So maybe we'll go on to slide 2.
Yeah, sure. Okay, slide 2 is coming. Okay.
Okay, so this one is a better close-up of the rock. And it does kind of look like a real rock. I don't think it's really a lake there. I don't know if that's a swamp that's next to it. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of Bohemian Grove.
Yeah. So this is not a real rock?
Yeah, so that's the owl, but it's not really a real rock. And this place isn't like the most ideal location that you'd want to have meetings. Like, I don't know, if I was going for a meeting, I wouldn't want to go next to a swamp for it. Probably get eaten alive by mosquitoes there.
Or alligators.
Yeah, might even end up catching Zika.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I don't think the big rituals are going on here. I guess maybe we'll go on to the next one because we covered everything about this place. So what happened was I had a friend on Facebook who messaged me about this headquarters that he used to live near in a town called Magog.
Magog, yes.
Yeah, and this town Magog is in Quebec.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's not too far from you guys, I bet.
No, well, we need a car to get there.
Yeah. So then when you're reading the description of this place, you can see that it's not just a whole bunch of guys getting drunk here. This is a location for all of the master masons to meet. And they have an owl here that's actual real rock. It's not the fake kind.
That is amazing. And who meets there? It's just masons or even world leaders that meet there?
That's what I'm thinking. If they got the master masons going here, they probably got the guys going that are above the president. Like, I don't know if the Illuminati would be also using this location. That's why I figured you guys would be right into it. Because the Montreal anti-Illuminati would probably really want to find out if the Illuminati are here, right?
Yeah, except I find it hard to believe why would the Illuminati be right in Montreal of all places when there's bigger cities like New York and Los Angeles and that, you know, and
yeah, there has to be something that would make this place special and put it above all the other ones, and that's some of the information we'll cover. What do we got? Yeah, I think we should go on to the next slide, number 4.
Okay, slide now. Okay. Wow, Owl's Head, Quebec.
Yeah. So this place, you can see that they used the same, I guess, symbolism. They got the owl here. And the mountain itself is called Owl's Head. So this one is definitely a legit owl. It's not some fake thing that's been made out of plaster. And at this place, it's not just, I guess, Bohemian Grove was sort of like a campground.
Okay.
But this place has got a ski hill. It's got a country club. It's got an executive golf course. So as far as being next to a swamp and then coming here, I think this place would be a little bit better just from the actual location wise. And if you go to number 5.
Number 5 is right here. Okay.
Yeah, you can see the view from the top of this mountain is actually like world class. Like, I don't know, I've been to the top of a few different mountains before, and the view from this one is freaking amazing, really.
Oh, wow. That is amazing view.
Yeah, so if you're going up there for a meeting, or if you're going to a swamp in California for a meeting, I don't know where you'd want to have your bigger meeting. I think I'd probably hold it on top of this mountain if it was me.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to slide number 6, we'll show what the Freemason room looks like. But it's funny because the Freemason lodge here isn't made out of like wood or anything. It's just an open air room.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
don't
like
see
a
anything except
flag
flags.
inside.
I see 3 flags, the Canadian, the American, and the Quebec flag.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I see it now too.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, yeah, it's got a few different flags. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, so this outdoor meeting place is definitely like a lot nicer for a spot to meet. It's like when you're up on top of this mountain, you had a view. You're not next to a swamp. You're next to the real owl. And I think this mountain location is where they would do real rituals. I don't think they're going up there to just drink.
No. That's very possible.
Okay, so next, I guess what I should explain to help prove that this is a big place is slide number 7.
Okay.
We'll get up to some of the information on the town Magog.
Okay, yeah, we're there now.
And I'll bring it up here too. Yeah, so it's got the location of Magog, and it's actually on a large river system, and it's on a lake system. So in the olden days, the rivers and lakes were the main highways. So basically why this place was so popular, I think, is because it was on the largest highway. If you were coming over from the old world to, say, here, this would be one of the first places you would stop and dock your ship.
And look what it says. Magog is believed to be a translation of the lake's name. Biblical origins of Gog and Magog. An ancient city.
That's the funny thing, too. It's like, I was wondering, well, if this town is called Magog and it's from the Bible, maybe it's just a recent name, so then it wouldn't really mean anything. But then this Magog town goes back, the naming of it goes to ancient times, to a First Nations group called the Abenaki, which is very similar to the Anunnaki.
Exactly.
And I've been finding a lot of connections between the Abenaki and Anunnaki, just goes beyond this, sounding the same. And it's funny, too, that the town of Magog means large expanse of water.
Exactly.
And the biblical connection that they mention in the bottom here is Gog and Magog, ancient cities by the same name. But the one that caught my eye was that Magog is also one of the descendants of Noah. So if Noah's descendants, I think it's his grandson, went across to America and founded a town, wouldn't it be funny if he called it after his name, meaning large expanse of water?
That would be very strange, you know. But the thing is like there seems to be a lot of connections with naming, like the Anunnaki and Magog and Gog.
Yeah, we'll cover some more of the language similarities later. Actually, my friend Curtis Mullen is First Nations himself, and he has a book coming out on that subject where he's going to list a whole bunch of the connections between languages of the Old World and the New World that we just didn't really see before. I guess there's not a lot of research into the First Nations languages.
No,
not many people believe that they could connect to the ancient times in, say, Europe somewhere.
Exactly. This might be just a whole new topic over here that you just discovered.
Yeah, it's some pretty big information. And I guess we'll go on to the next slide, number 8.
Okay. Yeah, we're there now.
There's probably a lot of viewers that aren't actually into the Bible and that they don't want to be hearing all that stuff because it's not what they're into. But I don't just take this as a perspective to research it on the biblical side. It's like I try to take it on every culture I can find links everywhere, not just the Bible. I mean, if you look at the world flood story that Noah talks about, a lot of people make fun of it because they say there wasn't a world flood. But then when you look at even Wikipedia today, there's like 30, 40 different stories from different nations, all had world floods around the same time. So it's not just Noah here that's saying that there was a world flood, or not just the Bible.
it's different cultures also that have world floods. If you look over here, you know, it's like ancient Egypt, China, Buddhism. Every ancient culture talks about some kind of a flood.
Yeah, it's really shocking that there's so much collaborating evidence on this flood, and yet mainstream belief seems to have people saying that there was no flood. I don't know. I personally think that there was a flood. I guess there's a chance that there wasn't, but I think there's just way too much information proving there was to think not.
Well, the way I say it is, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's got to be something there.
Yeah, so if people aren't into the Bible, they don't have to tune out or anything for this. A lot of this information I'm going to be covering talks about the Bible, but it also has other sources, so it's not just the Bible.
No.
And if you guys want to go on to the next slide, I guess, what is that, number 9? I made a new chart here about Noah's relatives.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
And of course, there's other charts with Noah's relatives on, and they have like so many relatives on there that it just gets like, I don't know, too much to keep track of. So I made this version just with the people on it that relate to the Magi research I'm doing here. And then on this chart, you can see it starts off with Noah. Then only a couple descendants down on the left there, we come to Magog.
Magog, yes, I see it. Yeah, Magog on the left.
Well, it turns out when I was doing some more research into Magog that there's an Irish flood myth that talks about Magog as well, saying that he was the founder of all the Europeans, or I guess the ancestor of all the Europeans.
Okay.
And then it was one of his sons that went on to work on the Tower of Babel with Nimrod. It was pretty cool how you guys were talking in the news about that earlier, how it came up, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we got some more collaborating evidence here that Nimrod and this Magog guy were involved in the Tower of Babel. So I think that's a pretty big connection there. And then if you follow the chart down, they've got two groups of people. I think it's called the Gales, and I don't know, do you know how to say that other one?
The Gales, Scythians.
Yeah, Scythians maybe?
Yeah.
I've not even heard a lot of these words ever read aloud, so sorry if I butchered the pronunciations on them.
Gales, Scythians, yes.
Yeah, so those two groups of people there, I'll show you later on when we get a little bit further in the show. They have a connection to this Magog place, and they have a connection to it in Europe as well, in the Bulgaria area. So I guess it's kind of going to be hard to describe from this one, so maybe we'll go on to the next slide. Maybe we'll come back to it if we need to.
Okay. Yeah, right there.
So number 10, we got a DNA test result. And it's funny because before, when I was doing all my research on these connections, there was the possibility that Noah was a Phoenician. And a lot of people were saying that the Phoenicians weren't red-haired, or no, that Noah didn't have red hair, and that the Phoenicians might not either. So this DNA test, basically what it's saying is when they found some DNA from Phoenicians and tested it, it came back as not only European, but it came back with Europeans with red hair. So my evidence, or my theory that Noah had red hair and that he was a Phoenician was just confirmed here by the latest Fox News, and it only came out a couple months ago.
Is there connections to this and to the red-haired giants?
Yeah, see, in the First Nations legends, they had a case where there was red-haired giants that were involved in some activities in North America, and it went on for some time, but eventually those red-haired giants were stealing the babies from the First Nations tribes. And then they took the babies and ate them, so they were saying that they were cannibals.
That's very possible. That's sick too. Well, if there were giants, yeah, there were cannibals, the ancient giants, the Nephilims.
It does seem kind of weird though when you think about that theory though, because like in Canada, there's so many huge animals that you could eat. Like if you took down a moose, that's enough food for a giant, no problem. So I don't understand why the red-haired giants would be eating people when there was abundant food supplies everywhere.
Maybe they were cannibals. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's almost, like, people talk about cannibalism just for survival, but then there's also the occult or explanation, sort of like voodoo stuff, where if you eat someone, you gain their powers.
Right, yes.
So maybe that could be why these red-haired giants were eating people as well. They weren't really doing it for the nutritional value, but they were trying to get some sort of occult powers from it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary stuff there, so I definitely wouldn't want to run into a red-haired giant.
No, of course not. We won't want that at all. That's. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the new LA video that they caught a giant in Afghanistan.
Yeah, LA Marzulli, Brian Forrester. There's a whole bunch of people that are doing some awesome information on the red hair being found around the world.
Yeah, and it was just a giant that was found in a cave or something, and it took like 5-6 men to kill him.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the red-haired mummies they're finding are about 7 feet tall. So I guess you could call that a giant if it was standing next to someone who was like 5'5" or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh, for sure. But this giant, I think that LA found was like almost 13 feet tall.
13, holy cow!
So that's kind of big.
Yeah, you never know, because like the Smithsonian's been hiding a lot of these mummies for how long? So maybe they already got rid of some of the biggest ones.
They have. Well, apparently the Smithsonians did get rid of them because they had to hide them, because they don't want the general public to know what's going on. So they had to hide them.
Yeah,
hide the information.
I think I was listening to an episode of Coast to Coast about that, and they said that the Smithsonian would get all the evidence sent to them, and if any of the evidence didn't match their official theories, they would just throw it out.
Exactly.
So they didn't even test to see if they should adapt their theories to this new evidence. So I think that's maybe what happened. Rather than hiding it, they just threw it out.
Yeah, well, they're suppressing the evidence.
Yeah, and it's funny how. Why would you want to cover up the history of a red-haired people? Like, what's the big deal about discovering what's behind it? So, I think later on the show we'll be able to cover that pretty well too. Did you guys want to go on to the next one, number 11?
Yeah, we're going on it right now.
All right.
Okay.
This one's kind of funny. It's called the LGE, I think it is. Let's see here. Yeah, the LGE history, and I was thinking LG something, and I almost skipped past it because I'm not really into reading a lot of that stuff, but then I found out it was a totally different thing. They're talking about the Irish history had a version about Noah, and I didn't even know that the Irish history, did you ever hear about them being involved with Noah? Or?
No, I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, so I guess it didn't match up with the biblical account for the regular Bible, so a lot of people in Ireland, I guess, eventually switched to the Vatican version, and that's why a lot of this history got forgotten. But when I was digging through it, it's like I found so many things in here that matches what I'm researching, and I'm almost leaning towards this version rather than the Vatican version, even as strange as some of it is.
Well, this does sound strange, but the Vatican hides a lot of information.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can see here it talks about how... Magog was the forebearer of all those Europeans. Goes on to talk about the Tower of Babel and how the language of Ireland was one of the first original 72 languages that came out of that falling of the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always hear about that story, and it's kind of funny how this seems to match it exactly. I don't know how it ever got buried. So.
The thing is, I think the Bible's hidden. A lot of it's been taken out or censored and everything, and we just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of connections that the elites don't want people to know. So I think they alter and censor stuff and hide stuff, and who knows?
Yeah, I think I pretty much cracked exactly why they're hiding it now. We're almost at that part in the slides. Maybe if you want to go on to the next one, number 12. Yeah, number 12 here is the map that I was able to make using the information from a lot of researchers that were helping me. I don't know if you got the map. Oh, there it is. The map's up there now.
Yeah, we're there. Yeah.
Okay. And in the top left of this map, you can see 2 pools of water. And those are the one on the left in Canada is the offering table I found up north. And the one on right is the one that's located in Bulgaria. You can see it on the other side of the map there. And I was like, wow, these 2 places match. And it's so close to Noah's Ark in Bulgaria. And then we have another grandson of Noah naming the capital city, Sidon. And then crossing the ocean, coming across to Magog. And then It's funny, when you come to the Canada side, I knew that that offering table I found up north could be connected, but I thought it was like a walking connection. I wasn't familiar with the river systems up there. What it turns out is the river system comes in from the St. Lawrence on the ocean there, past Magog, and goes all the way up the Ottawa River right to the offering table. There's less than a 10-kilometer walk on foot.
Wow.
Yeah, so before when I was thinking, oh, maybe these offering tables are connected, how could Noah have got here? It's like, well, now I actually have the map showing exactly how we got here. And when I was researching these rivers too, some people mentioned it to me. They're like, hey, maybe these river systems are new and recent and they didn't exist back in the time of Noah. So I checked into that. And I found out the Canadian river systems were basically formed after the, what is it called, the Ice Age, when that big ice sheet came across.
Okay.
Yeah, so after that ice sheet was passed, it created the rivers, and those rivers have basically stayed the same since. So Noah could have actually used this system. It lines up with the exact timeline.
So this would mean that there is an ancient connection with Noah, undeniably.
Yeah, at this point now, like before, I was only maybe 30% sure that this theory was true. But now that I've got this map showing exactly how it was done, I'm way more sure than I was before, that's for sure. And then actually, if you look at the bottom of this map in the bottom right, we've got the two offering tables.
Yeah.
You can see those there. And the one on the left in this comparison is just a zoom in of the one that I found up on Mount Kevinus there. And then another researcher on Facebook happened to share some pictures of what offering tables look like in Egypt. And she wanted to know if any of the pictures I got of the location in Canada matched. So then I went through my footage and I was like, hey, could I find any that match? And boom, there was the match I found. It's like those two offering tables are near identical in size, shape, purpose, everything.
It just fits like a glove.
Yeah, and then what the problem with this theory now is, why does Egypt have a connection to Noah? It's like people don't really think about a connection to Egypt and Noah.
Exactly, but like I said before, perhaps the information's been suppressed and we just don't know.
Yeah, so I think the only way this would have been possible is if Noah's family was a red-headed family and they colonized all of Bulgaria, all of Turkey, all of Syria here. They would have eventually moved into Egypt and founded that culture as well. But that's a pretty big assertion, so I'll have to go into some more evidence to see if that's really the case, and I got some here.
Okay. Yeah. Do we move on to the next slide?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one, number 13 there.
Okay, we're there.
Yeah, so this was the actual website that the offering table from Egypt describes. I guess, what is that, the Louvre? Yeah, the Louvre. And it's an offering table that was sculpted of stone, intended to be placed in front of magical false doors and statues of tombs. But as far as it says that, I think it's more to connect with magical doors as in a doorway to knowledge. I don't know about like connecting to the ancient internet rather than walking through a physical false door.
So the ancient internet, that would be like a whole power grid that connects like from the pyramids and different hotspots around the world.
Yeah, I don't want to get too off track here, but what I think it is that our universe goes along with the Matrix idea, the universe simulation. And then this internet is basically what bonds all of this holographic simulation together. So if you can tap into it, you're going to be tapping into not only the Akashic records, but basically the very fundamental building blocks of the universe.
And how do we tap into this?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that I came across to find out I'm doing it, and I could probably do a whole show on that, so
okay.
Maybe I won't get too much into that part, but maybe for another show.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, so the next slide, what do we got there? Oh, yeah, we have another map.
Right.
So it's funny when I was going on that theory that, well, if Noah was going to go and found Egypt, we're going to have to find a huge civilization of red-haired people stretching a pretty big distance. Like, that's not a very small area. And then when I looked up this place called, what is it, Thrace? This is basically a map of ancient Bulgaria. And it turns out that the Empire of Thrace was a huge empire. And above it, there was actually, I had another map that had the name of one of the descendants of Noah we mentioned before, the Scythians, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those descendants on that list of Noah, it turns out that they lived in this area, and it was a red-haired people area. It's like all the people that lived in this area had red hair, from all the way, I guess, to northern Bulgaria to Egypt and even parts of Africa. So it's surprising that people make fun of the idea that Noah had red hair and there would have to be a big civilization, yet we check the official records, and it even says there was. So I don't understand why a lot of people are coming up and saying that this is such a far-out idea. It's like it actually matches the official account.
Could it be Noah was a giant himself?
Yeah, I think Noah probably was, because he had the extra, what was it, the age as well, where he could live longer. So if he's living longer, there's a chance that he has some other stuff going on too. Maybe he was a giant.
Or maybe, yeah, exactly. Well, maybe there was somebody, because you had to build a big ark, so I'm sure you had help.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go into the next slide. It talks about those people that lived in this area, and this is the proof that shows that they actually did have red hair. So you got here the ancient Greek artwork often depicts them as redheads. Several of the graves have Rufus inscribed on them, which means redhead. And then I guess I mentioned earlier in the show that I think this whole map and everything was a shipping network, and it was used to take gold. And when I checked these people here, it actually says that they were gold-rich people, and how their civilization fell was the Jewish priesthood ended up teaming up with the corrupt government that had taken over the Persian Empire, and they wiped them out to steal their gold. I was like, wow, so this is where all the differences in the Bible may have actually happened. It's like we had the old version of the Bible where everyone was a magi, and eventually they switched to becoming Jewish. It's like, where in history did that happen? It's like this slide here actually gives us the date of when it happened and why it happened. It was to steal gold.
So are you saying that the Jewish people could have been Magi's before?
Well, I think they originated out of them. Yeah, I guess sort of like when a religion starts off, like Christianity, it splits and splits and splits into different factions, like the Catholics or the Protestants and all that stuff.
Okay.
I think the Jewish priesthood took a lot of the Magi stuff and just made it into their own religion. And the reason they were doing it is because they stole the gold, and they didn't want to tell everyone that they stole the gold, so they just wiped their history out completely.
Doesn't that sound like the Illuminati want to do to us now? They want to wipe us out, like on Facebook. They just could delete our accounts and delete everything that we ever even existed.
Yeah. Well, it's a real shame because I've seen the same thing happen when I was researching the Noah legends. Each Noah legend from around the world, or I should say flood legend, talks about how when the boat landed, they got off and there was no one around, so they legally took all the land. And I was finding that weird. Like, isn't there a couple of civilizations that should have wrote that, hey, we got off the boat and we saw other people and we had to share the land?
Well, yeah.
But it turns out that those liberal people that were willing to share got wiped out by the people that were willing to steal it. And the history we got left with was the stealing history. So they told us that there was no one there and they took it all legally.
That's not fun.
So, I know it sounds evil and all to do, but it's just human nature, I guess, in a way. It's like people always tend to take the easiest path, and stealing gold is going to be easier than going out and getting it. And a lot of people don't have the choice; they're just going to do it.
They just kill them all off and begin it over again and erase just everything that's happened.
Yeah, and it's weird how too. It's like in the top right of this picture, it shows ancient. What is it? An ancient artwork there was even showing the people in Bulgaria had red hair. And I never knew that. Did you know that Bulgaria had an ancient race of people that were all redheads?
No, I don't know. I don't. Never really heard of the redhead in Bulgaria. No.
Yeah, it's funny too. They stretch all the way to Iran. It's like Iran's population used to be all redheaded people at one point as well. And that's why they were called the home of the Aryan race.
That is fascinating. Without a shadow of a doubt. Wow. I mean, Iran having red haired people. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange history that's been covered up, and man, when you start looking into it, it's like you start to see why. It's like gold was a big part of why this cover up was going on. And yeah, if you guys want to skip on to the next slide, number 16.
Okay.
This is pretty much the biggest point of evidence that I have for the whole theory, I think, is that offering table that I found up north that you see on the map in Canada there.
Yeah.
It's located just maybe a few miles down the road from one of the world's best gold mines. So if there was a trading network leading to this place, I think it's a pretty good assumption that they were coming for the gold if the best gold mine in the world was there. And like you can see on this chart here, it's like, Canada's location, Kirkland Lake Gold is number 2. So there's only one place in the world that's better.
And it's in United States.
Yeah.
Klondike's mine.
So that's kind of where I'm getting into this theory about where the Freemasons are involved. It's like if they're running gold down from that all the way down to the rivers to that place called Magog, and that Magog place was the main trading hub that was running all the gold from North America back to the old world. So that's why all those people in Bulgaria had so much gold to steal, is because they had the entire supply coming from North America. I don't think the First Nations people were big into gold here. At least not in North America, maybe South America, I guess they were.
That makes a lot of sense, exactly, oh, for sure. I mean, but don't forget, gold has always been, even the Anunnaki, they said they created us slave race to mine gold for them.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's what I was just going to say next. It's like, say that this ancient shipping network was running gold. What happens if the gold never stopped running out of there? Maybe there's still some gold being run through the Freemason organization, and that's why they're set up in Magog.
Exactly, and who they worship. They worship these entities, Lucifer, demons, the archons.
Yeah, the Freemasons also follow the Magi religion, so they're connected directly to the Anunnaki. So technically, if the Anunnaki were running the Freemasons, then they could be using them still to this day to get gold off the earth. And then that means that this Magog place is the headquarters of where they're still robbing all the gold.
Exactly, yeah, and it's not very far from us. It's funny how we research stuff all over the world, but sometimes something in your own backyard you don't research, and it's right there in front of you, right in plain view.
Yeah, like I used to read a lot about gold, and I always thought it was the biggest mines were in Africa or California, maybe like Bohemian Grove. But I never knew that Canada had some of the best, let alone the second best in the world.
I know.
And see, there was an ancient legend. I don't know, have you heard about the legend of King Solomon's gold mines?
Pardon?
Have you heard the legend about King Solomon's gold mines?
Not really, not particularly.
So basically what it is the Freemasons' whole mythology is based on the Solomon's Temple.
Okay.
Solomon's Temple is that holy place in Israel that everyone's always fighting about and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, and so those gold mines there. Here, can you hold 1 second? I just gotta grab a drink quick.
Okay. Yeah, this is very fascinating, folks. I mean, we're getting a lot of information here about the ancient world that could be connected to Magog and the Freemasons, and if they actually do have type of a Bohemian Grove going on here, it's just something that's to be exposed. Maybe it's just some new information.
Yeah, I got a drink there, and I was just talking a little bit too much there.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the Freemasons are involved with King Solomon's Temple because I don't know how it went was King Solomon's mines were required in order to build this temple because they needed crap loads of money to build it. And Solomon managed to get the most gold ever, and everyone was wondering where he was getting it from. And for over 1,000 years, people were looking, trying to find his gold mine, but no one ever did. So a lot of people theorize that if they couldn't find it in the old world, then maybe there was a chance that King Solomon had found a way to get gold from America. So people thought, hey, maybe he went to the gold mines in California. Maybe that's where Bohemian Grove comes in too, that it was a distraction. And it turns out that like the the best gold was in Canada. So if they wanted to run gold, that's where they would be going to get it.
And no one really knows about it, so it's a perfect cover-up.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, I don't think too many people have heard about the real Bohemian Grove. I don't think too many people have heard that the best gold mines are in Canada being run through a shipping network through that base. It's like there's a lot of stuff going on here that's huge news, and it's like no one knows about it.
Have you been in any contact with any Freemasons?
Well, after I started releasing some of this information, I got into a bit of debates with people because a lot of them are posting on there that they're Freemasons and they know that a lot of this stuff isn't true.
Okay.
So then what I did is I argued with them by not really like getting into swearing or anything like that. I would just post the exact information I got, where I got it from, and then ask them, it's like, do you agree that this information is true or not? And then they would say they're not sure. They'll go and check with their higher Freemason people. And then a lot of them came back and said, oh, yeah, it is true. So that's where we get these lower level Freemasons don't agree with it. The higher ones do. So it's a little bit of a mess there.
Yep, kind of a mess, for sure.
Now, if you guys want to go on to the next slide, I guess I shouldn't leave it up on this wheel chart for too long. Number 17, we got this one's an ancient tablet of the Phoenicians.
Okay.
So a lot of people are asking me, like, okay, if you're going to try to prove that Noah's a Phoenician, we got the proof that Noah's a Phoenician, but do we have any proof that the Phoenicians followed the Magi religion, or were they actually following the old religion of the Bible, like the Hebrew or Jewish version, right?
Right.
So when you look at this tablet, you zoom in near the top, what do you find? You don't find any Star of David on the top that Noah and the Phoenicians were carrying, but they were carrying the winged disc. So I think this tablet here is pretty solid evidence that Noah wasn't following the Jewish religion at this point.
That is fascinating because in the Bible it says that he was a man of God.
Yeah. See, I think the Magi God and the Bible God were one and the same at one point, and eventually they got switched into being two different gods. But if you want to go into some of the archives when I was on the show last time, I think I covered that part pretty good.
Okay. Sure, yeah, we'll go with the next slide, right?
Yeah, the viewers want to check it out some other time. But yeah, for now we'll go on to the next slide, and I'm just going to show you some of the history of the winged disc. Let's see, there we go. So I found out that the Phoenician winged disc matches the Sumerian winged discs, also very close match. And then I looked up the Sumerian winged disc and found out that it matched Ahura Mazda. And Ahura Mazda is the god in the winged disc of the Zoroastrians. And they're pretty much the remains of the Persian Empire that we talked later, how they got help from Darius to slaughter the other Magi. So it's like we even see proof here that Magi are fighting amongst themselves as well. Sort of like how Christians and Lutherans or whatever were fighting each other at one point.
And we see on the right, Albert Pike, the secret meaning to Freemasons, Ahura Mazda.
Yeah, this is the proof here that shows that Ahura Mazda is the god of the winged disc, and you compare it to the Freemasons' oldest books, and they clearly say that Ahura Mazda is the secret to the Freemasons. And this is a book by Albert Pike, and some Masons tried to argue with me and say that Albert Pike wasn't really a high-up Mason at all, and that he was just some low-level guy. He wasn't their leader, and he didn't really know what he was talking about. So what I did is I looked up Albert Pike's tomb to see where he was buried. You know how Washington, D.C. has that layout of, what is it, the pentagram, I think, or something?
Yeah.
Well, that whole layout in Washington, D.C. has that star symbol, but it also makes a giant pyramid, and there's an eye located on that pyramid, just like you see on the Illuminati symbol. And then that eye happens to be the Freemason headquarters in Washington, D.C., and that's where Albert Pike's tomb is. So Albert Pike is buried in the most holy place for Freemasons. So I don't think he was some low-level Freemason who didn't know what he was talking about if they put him in that place.
Exactly. I don't think so. I don't think so either. I mean,
Yeah. The Freemasons, they were telling me after that Albert Pike wasn't high up, and then I showed them that evidence, were kind of shocked. So I'm starting to wonder, too, how many Freemasons even know that Albert Pike is the center of it.
Well, the lower levels don't know much. The lower levels don't know much. It's the higher ups.
Yeah. And then the thing with Freemason too is you got so many organizations that maybe all of them aren't even connected. So when you're debating with Freemasons, you can't really take it all as legit. You have to look at it up yourself to make sure, I think.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll get on to the next slide. Covered that one. We were talking about how the Anunnaki and the Abenaki tribes have different connections with their languages.
I see right there, yeah. Manitou.
Yeah, so it turns out that the word for spirit in some of the First Nations languages happens to nearly match the Magi version, from Manitou to Manu. And then I knew that was a pretty cool coincidence, but only recently I found their text and compared the two texts. And you see the top one sort of looks like an L and then a sideways 6 and a C.
Okay, yeah, I see it right there, yeah, like that.
And then the bottom one has 3 or 4 symbols. And what I found out is the one symbol I don't think actually is part of the word. So you could scratch off that first symbol.
Okay.
And then you have that 6 almost matches the middle symbol in the bottom. That C shape almost matches the C underneath it, except it's turned upside down. And the L at the top has a connector at the bottom, but the L at the bottom is just a single line, right?
Right.
So it's like, oh, it's pretty close, but maybe it's not the same because that C is shaped the other direction. And then I looked it up as why it's a different direction, is they actually had a meaning for it, is when you wrote an evil spirit, you had to change the shape or direction it was facing, so you'd spin it 360. So if you had it as a good and evil spirit, these words almost matched identical.
Yeah, yeah, so it's almost as if everything's inverted right there.
Yeah. So it's funny how the ancient languages match so closely. And the only reason I don't think we saw these connections before is there's not too many people that are familiar with Aboriginal languages and happen to be familiar with like Old Persian script as well. It's 2 separate fields that a lot of times just don't connect, right?
That's right, yeah, they don't connect at all. And we need people.
Until we get researchers like us that happen to connect them.
Exactly, all the time.
Yeah, because a lot of my research, I try to cover as many fields as I can, so I'm not going to try to stick into one field too much and get some sort of idea that I don't want to get away from. I want to try to get as much information, as many sources as possible.
And who knows, this information we're broadcasting now worldwide on transmission, maybe it's not supposed to be known. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be that too. All right, so one of the reasons I was looking up this word Manitou or spirit happened to do with a legend the First Nations had about a dream rock. And this dream rock was able to allow people to communicate directly with God. Instead of having to pray and stuff, you could go and sleep on this rock, have a dream, and in the dream communicate directly with God. So that was a pretty big mystery, and I was looking into it to see if I can find out some more information about it. And man, that's when I started finding these word collaborations.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, and then it's kind of ironic too that my invention that I talked about on the show last time has a little bit of a connection to this that I just recently found out. So maybe if you want to go into the next slide, number 20, we could talk about that next.
Okay, yeah.
All right, this article is actually from Vice News. I don't know if you ever heard of Vice News before.
I've heard of them, yes.
Yeah, they're kind of like a funny news source or whatever. Sometimes they play or show a lot of serious stuff, and sometimes it's like just shock value stuff or whatever. But when I got this story from Vice, I checked it out to make sure it was legit, and it actually is legit. Like the scientist or sleep person they're talking doctor here is actually a real person. So this isn't a BS article type thing, right? So basically what my invention, or what this article is saying here, is a lot of people that use cannabis have it affect their dreams. And because cannabis has been illegal in America for so long, we haven't really studied it. We don't have any of the actual medical doctors finding out this information like people are in places where it is legal.
So
I guess you guys heard what happened with Trudeau and the legalization thing, huh?
What happened now? No, I don't know the latest.
Yeah, what happened was, in case anyone's listening to the show and hasn't been keeping track of that in Canada, is Justin Trudeau was one of his main platforms for getting elected was that he was going to legalize weed for people.
Yes.
Not only for medical, but also for recreational, I guess, but just heavily taxed. And then it didn't actually go through as planned. But when April 20th came up this year, instead of making it happen, they announced that they're going to start making it happen. So we got about a year, or I guess less than a year now, until April, before it's actually supposed to come into effect. So my invention's actually going to maybe go through a little bit of a setback until that happens. But there's still people that are going to be able to use it for other herbs, and they're going to be able to use it for medical if you have medical stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Well, for sure, that'd be good, you know, because it's known to cure cancer and all kinds of stuff. Except they want to suppress it. Big pharma wants to do that.
Yeah, well, with my invention, a lot of people are saying that it could cure cancer just because it's the strongest form of cannabis well ever made, and it's the most purest. But I don't know if it can for sure, because in Canada we don't have the medical studies, so I can't sell my invention saying that, obviously.
Exactly, they might want to suppress your invention.
Yeah. So for now, my invention is basically just an attachment for a vaporizer. And I guess I should go over this article a little bit more. And this doctor here was talking about how the people that use cannabis actually suppress their parts of REM sleep, including dreams. So it's weird how people that are smoking too much will actually stop dreaming.
That is weird.
Yeah. And then how that connects to what I was talking to you about the previous slide is dreams are what the First Nations people have said that is enabling direct communication to God. So I was like, wow, isn't it a coincidence that my invention is actually going to help, or possibly could help, the communication with God? And how that makes sense here too is, I guess I should read it there. After you stop smoking for a while, this doctor proved that people end up going into a rebound effect. So within the first day or two, when you stop smoking, your dreams go up by like 90%.
That fast?
Yeah. So people that happen to be using my vaporizer and go and use this dream rock are going to have their dreams enhanced by about 90%. So if people were using this rock and were able to communicate with God before, can you imagine what it's going to be like when it's enhanced by 90%?
Ooh, that would be a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
That's impressive also.
Yeah, like who would ever thought? Like I always thought praying was going to be the only way to communicate with God. But then when I was reading the ancient Magi text, I found the same case of it in the Epic of Gilgamesh. He talked about too how in Europe, or I guess in ancient Europe, there was places that were mountains where if you slept on them, on a good mountain, you would be able to communicate with God. But if you slept on an evil mountain, you were going to get possessed by demons.
Well, let's make sure we don't go to the bad mountain.
No, there's a case of a team of explorers in Russia that did just that. They decided to ignore the warnings that the mountain they were going to camp on was evil. Did you hear what happened to the crew when they fell asleep?
No, what happened?
Well, they're not sure exactly, but from what the evidence shows, the moment they hit REM sleep, they went insane. And then they ended up cutting holes in their tents and running out naked into the snow and just dying.
Clearly,
so it's almost like they really did get possessed the moment they hit sleep.
Clearly a sign of demonic possession of some kind.
Yeah, and it's weird too because so many people look at that mystery of what happened to them on the mountain and it remains unsolved, but I guess it's only unsolved if you don't believe in demons. Right?
That's it, exactly.
So I'm going to be careful when I do this. Like, if I ever go to one of these dream mountains and try communicating with God, I'm not going to be going to an evil one, that's for sure.
No, I don't want you. No, exactly. Don't go on the wrong one. Be very careful.
No, I'm going to steer clear of that place in Russia. So I guess I gave a video to Robert, or not to Robert, to Mario, sorry. Do you think he'd be able to play it now? Or?
Is this the one here?
Yeah, it has to do with my invention, so...
There's something else.
Should have the link ready to go.
Okay. Over here we have the link up of Antichrist.
That's the one after the video, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's the previous one. Okay, we have it here.
Yeah, so if you want to play the video, I guess I'll describe it a little bit as it plays.
Okay.
You want the sound or no?
Maybe if you could leave the sound on a little bit for the video too. Just the music's pretty cool. A friend of mine, Jake, spent a lot of time working on it.
Okay, here it is.
Okay, so I see it. It started playing now. A little bit of sound would be good. Not much. Okay, so basically how my vaporizer attachment works, or my invention, is you have your traditional vaporizers that use liquid. I'm sure you've seen those ones before, people blowing out huge clouds of vapor.
Yeah.
But the dry vaporizer that I made my attachment for doesn't take liquid. It puts dry herb into it, and it makes the same amount of vapor as those giant clouds. And the bash on dry vaporizers for a long time is you couldn't get a huge cloud. But my invention basically allows you to get huge clouds, so much so that when the vapors are traveling through the unit, it collects into a chamber. And that red liquid you see bubbling is a simulation of what the vapor oil looks like once it starts collecting. So this would be the stuff like, what's his name, Rick Simpson's oil. Instead of it being black, this vapor oil is actually red.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit scary of how much potential this invention has. Like, really, I just invented it to use as a vaporizer, and it worked pretty good. But people are saying it's going to be curing this stuff. It's going to be able to communicate with God now.
really, wow.
There's another thing, too, is that vapor oil that collects in these, if it's made from cannabis, is incredibly sticky. So much so that we're going to be able to replace fossil fuels with it one day. We won't need to use them to make plastic anymore. So this invention could also potentially clean up the plastic disaster that our environment is facing today.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And when you plan on mass producing this?
Well, I had a bit of a rough go with it just because the whole issues with the legalization going back another year. So it's about a year behind schedule.
Okay.
But what happened was, too, is I got it going to the point where it was a small project and there was a few units available, but only made in Canada. And they were super expensive, I'll admit it. Like, if you get stuff made here, it's just really expensive to make, right?
Right. You're ridiculously expensive.
So I tried to get it going with that, but no one could afford it. So I was like, oh, crap. I had to pretty much sink my entire life savings into getting a larger batch of them made so that they could be cheaper. And I got them made in China now. So the price has gone down by, like, I don't know, substantial amounts. So almost anyone's going to be able to afford them now. It's like I do have them ready to go, but I'm not trying to push them too much in the advertisement fields right now, too, because I'm kind of on a small scale right now, and I'd like people to get it that really need it. It's like if people already have medical permits for marijuana and they want to use it, well, I'm kind of going to hold out until I get larger amounts for those people. Like I'm not really too much in the favor of people using it for just recreational, to be honest. So if people want to go to my website and order it for medical purposes, like, you can do that now.
Oh, what are the prices? The price ranges?
I think the Canadian one was about $199, and then the Chinese version is coming down lower, under $100.
Okay.
But the actual vaporizer unit itself is kind of pricey too. It's made by Airizer. It's called the Extreme Q.
Okay.
It's about $200. So really, the only thing that's holding this invention back right now is the actual price point. A lot of people are broke these days. Right?
Yeah, well, exactly. If the economic collapses, the economy, oh boy, will be even worse.
If I had to guess, I would say that my invention probably isn't even going to get popular in my lifetime. Like maybe the next generation is going to have the time to test to see what kind of plastics it can make, to see if it really can cure cancer, to see if it really can help you communicate with God. Pretty crazy invention now when I think about it. Like when I first started making it, I had no idea this was going to happen.
Exactly. You know, I mean, if you could communicate with God, that would be something else. That would be just amazing.
No, like as far as inventions goes, I think even Nikola Tesla would be impressed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You could communicate with God.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not for sure, right? Like we still got a long way to go before I can say that for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I guess has the video finished playing now?
Yeah, it has.
Okay, great. So if we want to move on to slide 21, I guess we'll do the last slide for the day, the big mystery that everyone's been waiting for.
Okay. The Antichrist.
Yeah, so when I was doing a summary for this show, I happened to notice that there's a lot of things that I was summarizing that happened to connect to the Antichrist prophecies. I was like, maybe my information about the Magi was going to help me find out who the Antichrist is. And I think I have a good prediction of who it might be.
All right. Well, keep us enlightened. Don't keep us in. Just enlighten us. Sorry.
All right. So we got the prophecy side on the left, and it's talking about how he's going to be male, and he's going to bring a new religion, and that he'll say that Christ was different. He'll save us with new technology. Is a plan for world peace, and his name's going to sound like Modest. I don't know, all those prophecies, you've probably heard some of them before, like maybe from John Hogue. I think you've had him on the show before.
Nostradamus. No, we never had John Hogue. We did a show on Nostradamus, but John Hogue, he never got back to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we tried to get him on.
Yeah, so I liked a lot of these Nostradamus prophecies before, so I made a list, and I started comparing it to the clues that I got now. And it says here, like, what is it? The Persians are awaiting a new king. And I think I don't know if I mentioned on the show last time. Did you hear about the new Snoop Dogg video?
No, I haven't.
Well, like Snoop Dogg, I'm sure people have heard of him. He's like a hip hop artist.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And he usually does stuff like about, I don't know, like regular type partying songs and stuff.
Yeah.
But he actually teamed up recently with a Magi group or a bunch of Zoroastrians. And what he did is he made a music video, and the music video is talking about how the Persians are awaiting their new king. Sort of like the prophecy that we've heard before from the Bible or Nostradamus. The Persians and the Magi have their own. And even Snoop Dogg's into it.
But aren't the Iranians waiting for the Mahdi, that's called?
Yeah.
I
guess that's true too, huh?
That sounds like the Magi, the Mahdi.
Yeah. I think you see where I'm going with this thing.
I do.
So he's going to be bringing in a new religion, the prophecy says, and the Magi are always talking about this old religion and how it was a worldwide religion. So it's like, man, the connection between the ancient religion of the Freemasons could be this new religion that we've always been hearing in the prophecies.
But where it says he will sound like Mabus. I wonder what the name would be. Have you come up with any name yet? Like Mabus?
Yeah, we're getting pretty close to that part.
Okay.
Right. Well, it says that in the prophecy that Christ is going to be different, or that the Antichrist is going to be saying that. And that's actually what the Magi teach, is the three wise men teach a completely different version of Jesus. Like, they came and taught him, and then that part was completely removed out of the Bible. And we're left with 20 missing years, right?
Right.
So we have another match there. It's like, oh, the Magi and the different view of Christ. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate match there. So then, what is it? The other part of the prophecy is that he was going to save us with new technology. Well, recent advances in alchemy, sort of like what my invention does, is potentially going to be saving a lot of things. Like, if it could save people from cancer, if it could help you communicate with God, or if it could eliminate the pollution problems that we're facing today. It's like that invention pretty much matches the new technology that we heard that was going to be saving us.
Right, yes.
And then also, it says that he has a plan for a new era of peace. A lot of the Magi information I've been researching came across to the First Nations legends. And they have a legend about Turtle Island and a legend about a medicine wheel.
Okay.
And both of these legends are talking about how we're going to have a new era of peace, and our generation right now is the one that's going to trigger it in. So this era of peace prophecy, according to the First Nations people, is happening right now.
But a lot of stuff has to happen before we get peace, like disasters.
What I think is actually going to bring this peace is one of the First Nations guys that was telling me about these legends runs a group called, the 8th Generation Infinity Network.
Okay.
And that's what they were talking about. It's like, they think that solution that's going to bring world peace not only is like the legend about Turtle Island and the deal, but it also has to do about other things. It's like their legend says that it's going to be this generation that's going to be the one that is going to find peace. And the way they're going to do it is they're going to find a technology that bridges religion and it's going to bridge science into one. So no longer are we going to have debates, say Muslims arguing with Jews or Christians or any different religions. There will be no debate any longer. Our generation is going to be the generation that actually connects back to God.
Are you saying like one world religion?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They think that this is the generation that's going to solve the mystery of God. And that's what's going to bring in the era of world peace.
No, because don't forget, there's supposed to be a world religion at the end of times. That's what the Bible says. So
Yeah.
we may be close to that now. It seems like it's pointing to there. I mean, Pope Francis is heading that way.
Yeah. So here we come to the final kicker, the last clue of who could the Antichrist be. Well, it says that he's going to sound like Mavis, but I think one of the predictions for that, it doesn't have to be his name, right?
Right.
They said something else could sound like Mavis, and he would be connected to it. And then that was the kicker for me, is when I was totaling everything up, is what is my expertise? What do I always talk about that everything connects to?
The Magi.
Yeah, and the Magi and Mavis are actually pretty close to sounding the same, are they not?
They are, yeah, the Mavis, Magi, exactly. Just a few little letters here and there.
Yeah, so after I made all these conclusions, I was like, oh crap, this actually isn't good news. This could be some pretty bad news about the Antichrist. It's like I heard on an Antichrist special on Coast to Coast a few years ago, how they were talking about how the Antichrist might be a giant, or that he might be one of the Anunnaki returning.
Oh, Nimrod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also had one other prediction, was that the Antichrist was a regular person who didn't know that he was the Antichrist yet.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one too. Yeah, he doesn't know it yet until he gets to a certain age.
Yeah. And then I started looking into other legends, like say the Asian version of the Savior that they're coming or expecting.
Okay.
He's going to have green eyes. And I guess I have green eyes.
Oh no, don't tell me you're thinking you're the Antichrist.
Well, that's the thing I was thinking here. It's like if the Antichrist is going to come and fulfill these prophecies, he's going to have to bring a new religion that's bigger than the Magi religion that I've exposed. He's going to have to say something was different with Christ, more different than I've shown with the Magi having a different version of Christ. He's going to save us with new technology. My recent invention seems to claim to do just that. Or a lot of people claim, I don't yet. And then he has a plan for Era of World Peace, where a lot of the activism work I'm working on for Turtle Island and the Medicine Wheel happens to be exactly that. I'm working on a new plan for world peace. And the stuff I work on happens to sound just like it. Like if you type in Magi into Google and see who's published the most work on it, my work with Adept Initiates pretty much takes the cake. I don't think there's anyone else that's published more on the Magi than me yet.
But the thing is, the Antichrist is going to be evil in the end. He's going to kill billions of people. I don't think you're wanting to do that.
Yeah, that's what I started wondering too. It's like, who is telling us that the Antichrist is evil but the Vatican, right?
Well, yeah, the Bible.
Yeah, the Vatican version of the Bible. So it's like one man's demon is another man's savior. It's like, I don't know if the Antichrist was really going to be that bad after all.
I don't know.
Like, if he's supposed to bring in an era of world peace, does that sound like a bad guy?
No, but the thing is he's supposed to be possessed by Satan.
Yeah, there's always a lot of different prophecies like on this. Like, I'm not saying I am the Antichrist for sure, of course. Because
Yeah,
a lot of these prophecies don't even really check out. Like, if you look into, what is it, Nostradamus' work, people saying the Mavis thing and all, or Mavis, it's like, I don't know if that's really, like, there's so many different ways you could translate it. It's like, it's nothing for sure. Yeah?
No, it's not.
And another thing is that the Antichrist was supposed to announce himself to the world, and who's announcing it but me, right?
Exactly. You're announcing it now.
Yeah, so like I'm not saying I am the Antichrist, but when I totaled all this information up, it's like, holy crap. It's like, I heard that on Coast to Coast, that the guy might not even know that he's the Antichrist. And when I heard that, I was like, aha, sucker. Glad I'm not that guy.
But the thing is,
crap. Hopefully I didn't jinx myself.
hopefully he's supposed to be 33 years old when he comes to power or knows it.
Yeah, so I'm in my mid-30s, so it matches that.
Well, I don't know.
No, it's pretty weird to think, like, if my invention happens to do even half the things that people are claiming it, then it'll start to get me worried. But at this point, I really don't think it's that big. Like, it could be, like, this match is more evidence than anyone else has ever put forward, I think, for the Antichrist, but I don't know if it's true.
Exactly.
I sure hope not.
No, I don't want you to be the Antichrist. And
well, the worst part is if I was the Antichrist, you guys had me on for the last Christmas special.
Exactly, and then because of now the revelations that maybe that's why we're here, Mario and myself, to reveal to the world the Antichrist. But that's not what we really want to do, unless that's what we're called to do.
Yeah, well, I tried running this by some people I know just to get other people's opinion on it that I know.
And what did they say?
Say, oh, there's no way you're the Antichrist.
No.
Well, I've ran it by a few people, and what do you know? They agree. They think that I am.
They think you're the Antichrist.
Yeah. It turns out, like, when I was a kid in school, I used to talk about the light beings all the time, and a lot of people heard the story and were thinking that, hey, this guy is going to be someone big one day. And my whole high school used to talk about it. We were all going around like something big's going to happen, but we never knew when or what.
But the thing is, you're supposed to kill billions of people through wars. I don't see you killing one person, much less billions.
So that's the thing too. Like, I'm a very non-violent person. It's like I can't even watch, what is that show, Game of Thrones. The sight of blood makes me squeamish.
Really, and
so
also
there's a lot of things that don't fit, but there is a lot that do.
Another thing that doesn't fit that I forgot, which I'm seeing now in the chat room, is the Antichrist is supposed to be homosexual.
Really? No, you don't have to worry about that. That doesn't match. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I actually have a brother who is. So.
Okay. But yeah, so he's supposed to be homosexual.
Well, I guess they say too he's supposed to be charismatic, and I get women telling me all the time that I'm so charismatic, and I don't think so. But they say.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but if
and there's the whole light being thing too. Like, really, a lot of people said that the light beings, I was getting close to getting too involved with Luciferian stuff.
Could have been you tapped into demonic realms of archons.
Well, it's making me wonder. It's like maybe that's why the light beings have spoken to me so many years ago, is that they knew that this was going to happen decades later.
Because don't forget, they said that the Antichrist is going to be possessed by the devil himself or demons or whatever. Maybe that's what these light beings are. You've got to be careful what you tap into. But
that's where my technology came in too, where I discovered how to tap into the Akashic records.
Exactly.
Like that almost could be considered demonic knowledge. Like Mario was saying earlier in the show, how those astrology things are demonic.
Yeah.
Well, the astrology stuff comes straight from the Magi stuff. And it was first handed down to them to, Adam and Eve. Raziel the angel gave them the book of Adam, and it had all that information in there. How to build out a stone, how to use the zodiacs.
Yeah,
so,
the fallen angels.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like maybe a few years down the road, we'll see how my invention does. Like, I don't want people going out buying it thinking it's going to be the new savior of the world, because I don't think it is. But if that happens to be the case, it's going to start making this list look a little bit more, especially the whole communicating with God thing. Like, really, what is the Antichrist going to do? Bring a technology better than communicating with God?
Unless
I don't know if that's possible.
Unless he's going to be communicating with the devil himself, because he's supposed to be the son of Satan.
Yeah, that's one bad thing I actually learned about this dream rock. Is one of the first persons to use it, used it for good, learned how to get medicine, healed a lot of people. But then another Freemason that came later and used this dream rock turned out to be, Roosevelt. And he used the information to find the lost Ark that was buried in Oak Island. He moved it to the White House. I've done a few blogs on this for Adept Initiates if anyone wants to check it out. He was also involved in bombing Hiroshima He was also involved in bankrupting the country and creating the minimum wage. So this dream rock seems to offer both. It's like, I don't know, like a lot of the Magi technology or theories talks about how everything goes in balance. Some good, some bad, and you can never have too much of one or the other.
Exactly, for sure. But wow, this is mind-blowing. All this information.
Well, it'd be funny to see what happens when you guys share this link and to see if anyone else thinks this is really the case, because I hope I don't have a whole bunch of people coming around calling me the Antichrist now, especially since I'm into Christ. And it's like I research the Bible all the time. It's like Jesus is one of my favorite guys. It's like, how could this possibly be the case?
Yeah, but the thing is, you suspect you're the Antichrist, so that's not so good. Maybe people will say he actually thinks he's the Antichrist. He wants to be, you know, but...
Yeah, like there's also that prediction too that the Antichrist is going to do all this great stuff and then he's going to get killed for doing it. So it's like, oh, I sure hope that prediction isn't true.
And it's
like, too, they said after I get killed or the Antichrist does a huge era of war is supposed to come in, and if I survive, then peace comes through. So I'm hoping that part isn't true, or at least the peace part is.
But the thing is, there's supposed to be several Antichrists before the real Antichrist comes on.
Yeah.
Like Hitler, like Adolf Hitler was one of them, Napoleon.
Yeah, Napoleon was one. People.
Maybe even Saddam Hussein and all these people. And I don't know. I mean, so far, you haven't killed anyone, as far as I know, or done any trouble.
No, so that's what I think. The prophecy also said that the Antichrist would seem like a really nice guy too, right? So hopefully it's not like the Star Wars trilogy where all of a sudden someone's going to kill my family or something and I turn to the dark side. Right?
Exactly. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
No kidding.
I hope not.
So, and if it is true, at least you guys can say that you have the Antichrist as a guest anytime on your show you want.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when we tag this video, I'm going to say, yeah, this person believes he might be the Antichrist.
And it's not like I'm wanting to be the Antichrist. When I actually came up with this theory, it was I got a horrible sinking feeling in my stomach. It's like, this was incredibly bad news, but I felt like I had to share it with you guys just in case, like, say 2 or 3 years down the road it came out, and then you guys could say, oh, you never warned us. Well, it's like, at least I warned you guys.
Yeah, but isn't he also supposed to be Jewish?
Well, I guess I haven't really researched my family lineage, but I was mainly, Roman, I guess Roman Catholic was what my family was here. So I'd have to look into the family lines there. I've never researched
what background are you?
Well, my grandparents that came from the Ukraine were, I think, Orthodox. They call it Orthodox Ukrainian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like a Catholic version, but Orthodox, where they have a different date for Christmas and stuff.
Okay.
And on my dad's side of the family is, I think, Lutheran? But it's like, when I grew up, I went to a Roman Catholic school, so I kind of switched to being a Roman Catholic as I was growing up. So I've pretty much been going to church. Like, I even used to be an altar boy, so it's like I've been to Mass a million times.
Okay. Very fascinating.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when we share this video. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say there's no way it could be me because they're expecting some giant with like a Anunnaki wings or something.
Exactly, and as long as you're not going to start shape-shifting in front of our eyes, we're safe for now.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to go try out that dream rock, and if I happen to get some powers from that, maybe that will push this little idea a little bit further. So I've actually been kind of holding off on my trip to the Dream Rock, and I want to get a little bit more prepared before I go. Yeah,
for sure. So is there any...
I'll come back with some healing abilities, that'd be nice.
Oh, yeah, we could all need some healing abilities.
Yeah, especially the world and the shape it's in right now.
It's bad.
I guess we don't have a lot of time left on the show tonight, but I can get in more into the plan for peace, the medicine wheel, and the Turtle Island legends that I've got from the First Nations guys. Like, they helped me out a lot with that, so I should really probably do a show on that sometime. For
sure, yeah. In fact, we're doing overtime right now, you know?
Okay.
But it's okay though, because you came on earlier, you know, so it's lucky you came on 10 minutes earlier, and now like 20 minutes over, which is okay. It made a long show, you know. But
yeah, hopefully it's a popular show for you guys.
Hopefully we need some, because we need to expose all of this for sure.
Yeah, and I actually made a big list of people that have been helping me with my research that I was supposed to thank. I don't know if you guys can give me a minute to thank
Yeah,
them.
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you could thank them.
All right, I'll go down to that list. All right, I got it here. So I got help from a researcher in Bulgaria. When you could tell, a lot of my research has been going on there. Her name's Maya, and she has a little guy that travels with him named Yoda. And she takes pics from ancient sites all over Bulgaria and even the world. She seems to travel a lot, so I really owe her some big thanks on that one. And then also got some help from JJ Ainsworth. She's from the States, I believe, and she helped me match the offering table to the one in Egypt there. So that was another person who helped me. And then Curtis Moran he's Algonquin, and he's familiar with the Abenaki legends, and he was the one who told me about Magog, so he was a huge help on that one. And I got some help from the Zoroastrian elders in Iran. They were the ones who taught me a lot about the Magi and their homeland. And then Kevin Majuan is the First Nations firekeeper, and he helped me a lot with the Dream Rock and the 8th Generation Infinity Network. Maybe I'll try to get Mario to include that in the link, so if anyone wants to check out that group, it's really awesome.
Yes, send Mario the link, because he's going to have to do it now after the show. He's going to put up all the links, so he could send it to him once we're done here.
Yeah, another lady from Croatia helped me with my invention label. The people, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I'm a professional video game player. Well, the people in the Entropy universe helped me a lot with my invention, so I figured I should mention them. And next, NEXT, he's the guy who got me writing with the Adept Initiates. So I'd really like to thank him and the whole group, the Adept Initiates, for helping me share my work. Then my friends Josh, Chuck, Louie in Canada helped me explore up north. My family's been helping me out with a lot of rides. And the free school I mentioned that I was teaching at before, Louisa, Robert, Maggie, and everyone else there, I'd really like to thank them for helping me and letting me teach a class at their school. That was really awesome. And my godmother, Aunt Cheryl, she's been encouraging me to follow my dreams, and that really helps having family to support you. And you guys too at MnRTV. If it wasn't for you guys, I don't think I would have gotten half this information out yet.
Well, it's our pleasure. Sometimes we come off information that we don't even know. We research all kinds of stuff and we stumble upon things. And it's awesome,
Yeah, and sorry I didn't tell you guys about the surprise at the end of the show. It's like if any of the listeners are wondering, I didn't tell Robert or Mario that I thought that there's a chance that I was going to be the Antichrist. So it's a complete surprise for them too.
It is. It's really mind-blowing. And when I promote the show, I'll be sure to mention that you may think you're the Antichrist, if that's what you want.
Well, the thing is I think the evidence for me fulfilling that prophecy seems to match, but I don't really think that prophecy is accurate. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
at least I hope that prophecy isn't accurate.
Well, yeah, we could say there's a possibility that you may be.
Yeah.
But hopefully not.
Instead of hiding it, I might as well tell people now, right? Like, not that 2 or 3 years down the road comes out and everyone's like, well, why didn't you tell us sooner? Right?
Exactly. Well, at least you're saying it on this show, so now we just have to get the show out and expose it everywhere.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks a lot for that.
All right. Yeah, so, Leland, we want to thank you very much for coming on the MnRTV Live Show, and let's hope this was a big success. Yeah, I'm actually going to Toronto this weekend, and I'm going to be sharing this work with about 100,000 people. I'll mention that I was on the show, so hopefully we can get a big spike in viewers for it. Yeah, getting them the show, like tell them to watch the show and everything, So we need the viewership also. Yeah, so if you get an extra 10,000 listeners tomorrow, you might know where it comes from, right? All right. Yeah, for sure. Well, we want to thank you very much for coming on the show, Leland. All right, thanks for having me. And we'll talk soon again. Okay, take care. You too. Have a good day. Good night. Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye. Okay, that's another show. Wow, what a mind-boggling information here that Leland might think he's the Antichrist.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. But if he thinks, who are we to say that who are we to say what he shouldn't think? But,
Exactly. Time will tell if he is or if he isn't the Antichrist. I hope he's not. Nice guy. No, I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Think so. But we have to keep an open mind, and whatever may happen, happens. You know, sometimes we tap into information that we're not supposed to. Maybe that's what we're here for, to tap into information that we're not supposed to, and people are supposed to know what we're doing, and that's why we're here. So who knows, you know? But that's it for this week, folks. We'll get back to you very soon, probably, hopefully next week, God willingly. So you guys have a good night. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you all.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. You people are amazing. Don't you forget that. And we'll be back. All right. Have a good night. Thank you very much there. Bye.